More high-profile and sort of decorated coaches than Erik ten Hag have been at this club and effectively failed. The likes of Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho have won titles all over Europe. What makes you convinced and the board convinced that Erik can succeed where they have failed?
I think I spoke about that 5 minutes ago. It's important. Obviously, I think he's a good character to start with. From all I heard from people who have worked with him, he's a very good character, very communicative, very much caring himself, doing things himself. Obviously, he needs the assistance of the whole club, of all the people inside the club. I think he will get that. He will hopefully have the chance to mold, as I said, a new team together with the scouting department, together with the board, which is necessary, obviously. And for me, this is the most vital part, that the club manages to get in the best possible players and also change the attitude. Also the energy, it's also for me a question of energy. I think we need positive energy for the new team, and this is also important for the new manager. And if he gets that, I mean, we spoke about other clubs that were in a similar position as Manchester United 5-6 years ago. So if the right lessons are being learned from what has happened this season, this could be one of the few good things about a season like we are going through right now. That at least you know that it's which kind of screws we need to turn, which kind of things we need to change. And if that happens, I mean, why should Erik ten Hag not be able to be as successful as he was at Ajax? So it's probably not it's not the manager's quality. It's about changing all the other things that have brought the club into a position as we're in right now.
Patience the key, though. Is patience the key? Because you said it could take 2 or 3 windows, and then after the Liverpool defeat, you said you're 6 years behind Liverpool. So his patience, he's got to be given time, hasn't he?
I would rather say it's more the level of expectations, and this has also got to do with patience. Yes, but I mean, in a club like Manchester United, it's difficult to tell people be patient. It will take a little bit of time. But we just have to face the current situation. I mean, we lost on aggregate against Liverpool 9-0. We lost against Manchester City on aggregate 6-1. The team even lost against teams like Watford 4-1. We lost against a team like Everton, who were not full of confidence, 1-0. This is just the reality, the sad reality. But and therefore, I think it also makes sense to have a little bit of sense of reality. I wouldn't even call it patience, but if the sense of reality that we have to face and just accept and acknowledge, I wouldn't say accept, but acknowledge, this would also help Erik ten Hag for the future.
Ralf, you mentioned earlier you'd not spoken about your own situation with the board yet, but after what you've been through and what you've seen in the last few months, do you still want to come back and be involved with United next season? Do you see yourself coming back in some role?
At least we have an agreement on that role, but in the end, it's not the question what has been written on paper or what has been agreed upon. It's about what will really happen in everyday life and in everyday's business. This is the question. And in the end, it's also important, how does Erik ten Hag see that? Does he like to speak with somebody like myself? How close does he want to work together? And those are the things we haven't spoken about yet. So for me, I'm not worried about that at all. But for me, it's not a question of having agreed upon a contract or whatever for the next 2 years. It's, in fact, I'm 64 very soon. For me, it's not about having a contract on paper. For me, it's about what will really happen. How much does Erik ten Hag and the board of Manchester United really want to know about my opinion, about my experience, and this is what we haven't spoken about as yet.
When David Moyes took over in 2013, he was very clear that he felt there was a big rebuilding job at that point. Got a long contract, but he was sacked after 10 months. Do you think that the club, if the next 12 months are bumpy under Erik, that first 12 months, the club will hold their nerve and realise that it's going to require patience and some long-term thinking to sort of put the ship right?
I said there were too many ifs and what would happen might happen. I can only tell you from what I've seen and what I've heard, and experience so far, Erik ten Hag is a good choice, if not a very good choice. He has shown that in the past. I'm pretty convinced that he's the best possible coach that you can get right now. And all the other things, as I said earlier on, as sad as it is and as frustrating as it feels right now for everybody involved, and believe me, for me, this is extremely, terribly frustrating, because in the last 10 years, if not 15 years, we only experienced success, myself also, as a sporting director and as a football manager. But in football, you're not always on the bright side. Right now, we are on the other side. But as I said earlier on, the good thing about what happened, one of the very few good things, is that it's crystal clear. It's not that difficult. You don't even need glasses to analyze and to see where the problems are. So now it's only about how do we solve them. And for me, it's clear. It's not enough to do some little minor amendments, some little issues here and there, some minor cosmetic things. No, this is, in medicine you would see, this is an operation at the open heart. So there are more things to be changed than some little things here and some minor things there. And this is the good thing. And for me, this is, if this happens, and if everybody has realized that this has to happen, and if people want to work together, then it makes sense. And then I still believe that it doesn't need and take 2 or 3 years to change those things. This can happen within 1 year. And other clubs not too far away from here have shown that it doesn't take 2, 3, 4 years, that it's possible within 1, 2, maybe 3 transfer windows.
Without strong leadership going forward, there's no hope.
For sure. But this implies, this is also something that not only one single person as a manager can do. I mean, with all respect to Jürgen and Pep, I'm sure that they didn't do all the things themselves. There were also other people involved in those 2 clubs, top people in certain positions, no matter in which area it was. In order to rebuild and build something that we want to build here, in all areas, you have to have top people, and they have to work together in a very close and in a very reliable way.